As a guitar geek, I want you to honestly answer the following questions. How often after a practice session do you feel like, gosh, I should have practiced more? Or how often do you feel like you should be better than you are now? It's okay if those answers scare you a little bit, because today I'm going to share with you a tip, something I want you to do to reframe your mindset that will actually help you have better practice sessions in less time. No joke, it's called the idea of a minimum time commitment. And the whole idea is to set a realistic minimum time commitment instead of an unrealistic maximum time commitment. Let me explain. Way back when I was in college, I'll make this story brief, I promise. Way back when I was in college, I really wanted to be an amazing guitar player. So I set out and I said, you know what, I'm going to practice an hour every single day, Monday through Friday. Well, what would happen is Monday was great. I'd hit my full hour and I felt great, like charging into the week, awesome. Tuesday, I would miss some of my practice and end up only practicing a half an hour, and I'd say, okay, well, I'll just roll that half an hour into the following day. So Wednesday, instead of an hour, I'll practice for an hour and a half. Well, chances are I had to work on Wednesday, so I'd actually take that hour and a half and I'd have to roll it into Thursday, so on and so forth. By Friday, I was supposed to practice for like 3.5 hours. That's not a very good mindset. So I tried to reframe things around this idea of a minimum time commitment. So my challenge to you this week is to set a practice schedule that just sticks to a 10-minute practice session every single day. Yes, just 10 minutes. Now, I know your first thought is, 10 minutes, how the hell can you get good at anything in 10 minutes? Well, I'm going to explain to you 5 reasons why this minimum time commitment works and why it has such a positive effect on your playing. So here we go. Number 1, it's a small chunk of time that's actually realistic. So it allows you to keep things consistent and consistently say, I did it. I got my practice in for the day. I got my 10 minutes in for the day. That's a good feeling. I would much rather have you walking around with that feeling, saying, yeah, I got my 10 minutes in, instead of, yeah, I practiced, but I clearly didn't do enough today. See the difference of those two statements? I would much rather you say, yep, got my practice in today and I feel awesome about it. The next reason why the minimum time commitment works so well is that it acts almost like a lead domino, meaning it's a lead domino into an unconscious and very effective practice habit. Now, I'm gonna equate guitar playing to brushing your teeth here for a second. When you're brushing your teeth, you don't walk around your house for hours agonizing when you're going to brush your teeth, how you're going to do it, where you're going to brush your teeth. You just find yourself in the bathroom right before bed, brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. That's what I want guitar playing to do that's what I want guitar playing to be for you. I want you to just find yourself playing guitar for your 10 minutes as opposed to wondering when you're going to fit in this huge lump of practice time, right? The 10 minutes allows you to squeeze it in no matter where you're at in your day, and allows you to actually keep consistent and develop a really nice, solid, unconscious practice habit, which really leads to amazing progress. The next reason the minimum time commitment is so effective is that it actually makes your learning and playing much more efficient. See, when you only have 10 minutes, you need to know what you're going to work on when you go into those 10 minutes. And furthermore, you need to have laser-like focus on that particular thing for those 10 minutes so you get the most out of your practice session. It's an experiment in seeing how much you can pull out of a little chunk of time. And I would encourage you to try this out. In fact, I do want to challenge you to do this. I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes. Pick one thing to focus on. And for those 10 minutes, focus on that one thing. Because what you're going to find is you're going to get much further than you anticipated, because 10 minutes is actually a pretty long time, especially if your focus is dedicated to one single solitary thing. Another reason the minimum time commitment is so effective is that it actually can lead to longer practice times. And that's okay. If those 10 minutes act as your kind of gateway into a much longer practice session or a much longer creative session, cool, that's great. That's fantastic. If you sit down for 10 minutes and all of a sudden you're like, where did the afternoon go? I think that's a huge win in all of our Guitar Geek books. Whereas if you sit down to practice for an hour and you don't achieve that hour, you feel bummed that you didn't do enough. Whereas if you sit down for 10 minutes, you go for an hour or longer, all of a sudden it's like the cherry on top. It's a total bonus. And the last reason why this minimum time commitment idea is so effective is because these little practice chunks add up. They don't seem like a lot while you're doing them. They may not even seem like a lot at the end of the week. But over time, when you add these little chunks of consistent 10-minute practice, when you add up those sessions, it results in a ton of progress that you can't see when you're looking at it kind of in the minutia. But when you zoom out and you think, whoa, I've been doing this 10-minute thing for quite a while and I'm actually achieving progress, that's an amazing feeling. A lot of times I'll draw the parallel to saving change. Like you throw your change in a jar and those pennies and dimes and nickels and quarters don't seem like much at the time. But when you start adding them up together, pretty soon you might be able to buy a guitar or go out for dinner or take your spouse out for dinner and convince them that you need to buy a guitar because you've saved your change. Think of these 10-minute practice sessions as guitar progress change, for lack of a better term. So there you have it. Minimum time commitment. It's a small mindset shift that I want you to apply to your playing this week to see if you get any results. And I can assure you that the results are going to come. And you're going to actually be surprised at just in 5 days of 10-minute practice sessions how much you actually progress in what seems like not a lot of time at all. In fact, I want to know how it goes. In the comments below, let me know what you plan on doing for this week for your minimum time commitment. And if you've already been adhering to a minimum time commitment, let me know how it's going for you and let me know the benefits that you feel. All right, last week on Acoustic Tuesday, we took a look at Mule Resophonic Guitar's newest offering, a wood-bodied Mule Resophonic guitar, naturally, because they made them. We also took a look at the top 10 blues artists who were born before the year 1900, and you learned how you could win an Andrew White Freya 2002J. And this week on Acoustic Tuesday, you already learned the effects of a minimum time commitment. We're gonna listen to a torch-bearing folk singer, and we got a previously featured folk duo to answer some questions for us. And there's a documentary I want to tell you about as well. That's all coming up right after this. I'm Tony Polecastro, and this is the Acoustic Tuesday Show. Guitar geeks, unite. Welcome to Acoustic Tuesday, episode number 107. This is the show where you're going to learn about acoustic guitar gear, discover acoustic artists, and get inspired to live your very best acoustic life. As with all episodes of Acoustic Tuesday, I'm going to share with you my Guitar Geek list for the week. But before I dive into the Guitar Geek list, we have some Guitar Geek trivia. Here is your question. Ernest Tubb, known for his hit Walking the Floor Over You, amongst many others, cited which of these country artists as his main inspiration? Was it A, the Carter Family, B, Jimmy Rogers, C, Uncle Dave Macon, or D, Roy Acuff? Go ahead and ponder that, and at the end of the show, I'll be sure to give you the answer. Now, before I go any further, there is an individual I want to introduce you to because, well, he's helping me keep my head above water today. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, lifeguard Sir Noah Jacob Heckman Jr. the First. Good morning, Noah.
Tony, good morning. If I known you would have said that, I would have had like the whistle ready or something.
Yeah.
And then
you would have put the sunblock under your eyes.
Or on the nose.
Yeah.
I just have like the
yeah,
white nose.
We call him Noah Hasselhoff Heckman. That's what we call him. Also known as Knight Rider.
Yes. That's good. That's
Noah, you're doing well today.
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to revisit a segment we attempted to do last week, and I think it went well. But I kind of want to redefine its parameters, and I kind of want to rename it if you would be open to that. I know as captain commander of the computer, sometimes you're a little resistant upon renaming things when we've settled on a name, but...
You're referring to the Spit It Out segment.
I think rather than spit it out, I want to call it What Do You Think? Because basically the premise is this. I'm going to find a YouTube video that has experienced some sort of viral success, also known as everybody seems to know about it and has an opinion about it. I want to feature that video. I want to discuss it with you, Noah, but I also want to ask you, Guitar Geeks, what you think. So if that all sounds good to you, Noah, can we cue up the clip for today?
Absolutely. I give you the thumbs up. And yeah, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Now, now, for those of you who have not seen that clip before, let me introduce to you the world's angriest guitar player. Yes, that is what this individual is known as across the interwebs. And that's just a small snippet of a much longer video where some choice words were spoken. I tried to lift the PG section of the video for us to discuss today. Now, what I want to know is, what is the deal with the world's angriest guitar player, and why is he so angry? I have some thoughts and actually a lesson I'd like to pull out of this. First of all, it's really funny to watch because as a guitar geek, I can tell you what he's actually doing, we all experience in one degree or another. Now, we might not be punching our own hands like the world's angriest guitar player, but guitar playing can become really frustrating. And one of the things I think the world's angriest guitar player is failing to do is take a break. See, it seems as though he's continually attempting something that is frustrating him, and in doing so, he is escalating his rage and frustration to levels that I don't even understand what's happening. So, my recommendation to the world's angriest guitar player is to, hey, mister, just chill out, take a breath, maybe go for a walk, maybe take a nap, and then try it again. And see if it goes any better. Noah, what are your thoughts on the world's angriest guitar player?
Yeah, I thought I was hoping you'd ask me that, and a couple thoughts have occurred to me. So the very first one was, it's possible that he might be slightly inebriated, and so as we know, alcohol and fill in the blank don't always go well together.
That's fair.
And I won't take up too much of your time, but the other thought that occurred to me was perhaps he's angry that his guitar won't stay in tune.
Oh, I did notice that as well.
Yeah,
notice that as well. There, in other portions of the clip, he's actually yelling at his fingers, saying that the little F and B's won't listen to him. Which I thought was funny. I haven't maybe uttered those same words, but I've had the same sentiment as I look down at my hand in disbelief, like, why? It's more of I kind of plead with it a little bit more. I'm like, what, guys, there's 4 of you. There's only one of me. Can you do what you want to? Can you just go into the right places when I need you to? Anyways, no, great observations as usual. But we want to know what you think, of course. What's the deal with the world's angriest guitar player, and why is he so mad? Is he inebriated and frustrated that his guitar won't stay in tune, as Noah suggests? Or does he just need a break? Maybe take a walk, take a nap, drink a glass of water, or something else that we haven't thought of? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. And I'm going to keep chugging down this Guitar Geek list for the day. Because I'm excited about this next little chunk of video we get to share with you. We were so lucky because a couple episodes back we featured Mandolin Orange, one of my favorite folk duos, and they received, I think, I want to say 13 or 14 nominations at AcousticLife.tv for us to feature. So featuring them was awesome. And then we asked them to answer some Acoustic Life questions, and they rose to the occasion. They found a nice field. It seems like a nice day and wherever they're at. And they took the time out of their schedule to answer our questions. So without further ado, here's Mandolin Orange and their Ask the Artist segment.
Hey guys, Mandolin Orange here, and we're going to answer 3 Acoustic Life questions.
The first one is, who do you think an under-the-radar artist is that more people should be listening to? And I think the first one that came to mind was the Dead Tongues. Ryan Gustafson, who's a good old pal of ours who lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and has put out just some of our favorite records and is continuing to do so. So go check him out, The Dead Tongues.
The next one was, out of all of our acoustic guitars, which is our favorite to play and why? And we have loved so many acoustic guitars that we've had over the years. But about a couple years ago, we acquired one of the first guitars made by the Pre-War Guitar Company. They're based in Hillsboro, and we've known them as luthiers for a long time, so we were able to get one of the first D28 copies that they made, and we've kind of never really looked back. We have other guitars we love, but we haven't brought anything on the road with us accept that since then, and it sounds awesome in a mic. It sounds awesome with a DI, and it's never left us wanting.
True that. The last one was, what piece of gear has changed our acoustic lives? And there's been a few upgrades through the years, but I think the old standby would have to be the Shure Beta 57. As when I play mandolin on stage, that's my go-to microphone. I've tried other microphones, and I think in a live situation, the Beta 57 is just a workhorse that always works and always sounds good. And you could nail the board with it if you needed to.
Thanks for listening to our answers.
All right, I want to thank Mandolin Orange for taking time out of their busy schedule to answer our questions and give us a little insight into their acoustic life. It's so cool to hear pre-wars get brought up yet again. I mean, of all the artists that I've talked to and of all the artists that I've seen play, pre-war guitars seem to be this common thread. Eli West was here for the Acoustic Life Festival, and he was mentioning pre-war guitars, and he was saying about how amazing they are, and then he proceeded to play his Dreadnought and completely blow me away. The sound of this thing, it literally sounds like a guitar from the 1930s. It's brand new. And then Molly Tuttle, I mean, if we're just going to keep on our streak of continuing to mention her episode after episode, Molly Tuttle plays a pre-war guitar, and it sounds amazing. She's touted them as like the best new guitar you can buy that sounds old. And who else? Well, obviously Mandolin Orange, just mentioned them as well. So I keep going to the website and fake filling out my pre-order sheet just to try and really dial in what I want. Sorry, I'm getting a little somber because that's something I'm going to have to pass through the Polecastro Financial Committee, also known as Whitney. I'm going to have to come up with a really good reason why I need one of those. And I would, of course, encourage your help if you have any reasons why I need a pre-war guitar. Post those in the comments. I'll have Whitney just read through those and see if you guys can help my cause at all. Speaking of comments and things like that, let's bring things back up and let's dig into the comments from Acoustic Tuesday episode 104. Got some wonderful comments, some funny ones, some great questions as well. Actually, a controversial question came up, and we'll dig into that. First one comes from Rick R. He says, "Congratulations on 2 years of Acoustic Tuesday." Yep, 104 episodes equals 2 years. It's hotter than hell down here in Texas, but a cool cup of AT makes for a perfect August day. Well, thank you, Rick, for watching, and thank you for helping us celebrate 2 years of living our best acoustic life, and hopefully inspiring you to live your best acoustic life as well. It's kind of crazy to think we've been doing this for 2 years. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. I heard somebody say once, it might have been Noah, it might have been somewhere else, but definitely a popular phrase that applies here. The next comment comes from David G. He says, "Hey Tony, what advice would you give someone who uses a Martin Dreadnought Jr. for travels? Being that it's an all solid wood guitar, I know it requires a little bit more care than the GS Mini. Also, out of those two models, which do you recommend for the player that usually sings and plays on his own? Many thanks from Texas." 2 questions embedded here. I'll try and hit these really quick. In terms of taking care of the Martin Dreadnought Jr. while you're traveling, I would say the biggest thing is if you're flying in a plane and using the overhead compartments, make sure it sits atop whatever is in there. Since the Dreadnought Jr. and the GS Mini, for that matter, come in softer gig bags, sometimes the weight of somebody else's luggage can actually harm the guitar. So that's the big one that everybody might not think of. The second thing is, of course, humidity. I would strongly recommend the Boveda Humidipacks. Those are great. It's kind of a no-frills way to make sure that the humidity is stable within the case, and they're easy to travel with. Now, the one thing I'll mention with those is I'm not sure what it looks like in terms of taking those through airport security, because it's a liquid. I don't know if it works. So if anybody has any experience with those humidipacks going through airports and things like that, please let us know in the comments. You will help us all out for sure. And then on to the second part of the question, which one's better for somebody that sings and plays on their own, the Dreadnought Jr. or the Taylor GS Mini? And honestly, I feel like it's a little bit of a toss-up here. The Dreadnought Junior definitely provides a little bit more of a robust tone with a little bit more bass, whereas the GS Mini is a little bit more of a cutting, articulate tone. So let me offer this up as a point of comparison between the two. If you find yourself a finger picker and somebody that likes to sing and maybe do some fingerstyle arrangements, I think the GS Mini is probably the best route to go because of its articulation. Whereas if you're more of a strummer, maybe more of a flat picker, the Dreadnought Junior might be a great route to go. But honestly, I think they're both great guitars, and I don't think you can really go wrong with either one. The next comment comes from Kyle B. This is a controversial what is it? It's a controversial question. Boy, old Captain Mushmouth here really butchered that one.
You okay there?
He said, yeah, Kyle says this. Hey, Tony, might be controversial. The law of diminishing returns. Is a $10,000 guitar really 5 times better than a $2,000 guitar? I personally have an opinion on this, just playing devil's advocate. This is a fantastic question, and again, this kind of falls under the category of what you all think as well. So if you want to weigh in on this topic, please leave a comment. But the idea of a $10,000 guitar being 5 times more valuable or better than a $2,000 guitar, I don't necessarily buy into. I think the $10,000 guitar may have come from a small bench luthier, which is awesome. It might be a custom instrument, which is equally awesome. And it may sound damn good. But when you factor in limited availability, that definitely increases the price. Where if you look at a $2,000 guitar, it might not be custom. It might come off of, the factory line somewhere. But they're still damn good guitars in the $2,000 price range. I think there's a certain threshold in terms of a guitar that when it reaches a certain point in terms of specifications, all solid wood, solid bracing, etc., you've entered the realm of good guitars. And it's a matter of finding one that you think is worth the money that you're spending on it. I've purchased custom guitars. I've got a great Bourgeois custom OMSC that I got from Eddie's Guitars in St. Louis. I've purchased guitars basically hanging off the wall at a shop, my Martin HD35. Both are great, vastly different in price, and I love them both. So I don't think dollars essentially equals a rating of good, better, best. I think it's how valuable do you think it is, and if you love the guitar, are you willing to spend that much? And it's different for everybody. I don't think it's a hard and fast answer for sure, but if I forgot anything that's worth considering, again, make sure to leave it in the comments below. Next comment comes from Keith D. He says, great show, Tony and Noah. Good to hear Coulter Wall. I think he and John Moreland are my current fingerstyle favorites. It's amazing what they can do while they express themselves vocally. Maybe we could see a feature on John sometime. Actually, we featured John Moreland back, I want to say on in the 20s somewhere, quite early on. So just go to acousticlife.tv. You can actually do a search for John Moreland, and you can see the feature that we did on him. Also noted, the pudgy tone versus puffy tone explanations, and I'd like to thank Noah for clarifying that for us, for those who are curious. But he has a question. He says, my question is this. When you reach my age and the beard and hair take on a look of distinction, will you be known as silver tone? Hey, that was my first guitar in 1968, a hand-me-down Silvertone when my big brother bought a Gibson Melody Maker. Thanks for making Tuesdays the best part of the week. And since Noah is the resident expert on the issue, so when I go gray, Noah, am I Silvertone? Old tone?
Well,
what am I?
Okay, well, that's pretty clever. So I gotta hand it to him. Yeah, that's Silvertone. That's pretty good. But knowing me, I'll probably go with something like Old Tone.
Old tone.
Old tone.
Okay, that's fair. I segue here, not segue, I mean a detour. I was, what was I doing? Oh, we were in Spokane this weekend, and I was, the hotel, bathroom, they have all these crazy lights, and I'm in the mirror, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I noticed a patch of gray over here. And I've known about this.
A patch?
Well, like little stringlets.
Okay.
Little silver stringlets, And then I turned my head, and I've known about this side for a while, because Whitney will remind me frequently. And I said there's one gray hair for each year I've known Whitney. But I found more over here. And I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know why it's all happening.
Well, probably genetics, okay? But here's what I do know. I'm looking forward, personally, to going gray and or white. I consider it, I feel like I'm immature enough as it is. And I would hope that by the time my hair does change color, which according to genetics in my family, I'm going to be immature for quite a long, long time. So all that is to say is I'm rooting for you. And I think it would be rad if you went silver earlier than later.
I'm just worried about how the coffee staining effects, like around this region. You know, like repeated exposure to coffee. I'm basically have like racing stripes.
Maybe because of the coffee already, that area won't ever change like the rest will.
A lot of theories going on here. That's good stuff, Noah. Good discussion.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our final comment from Drew L. He says, I'm tuning in from Wisconsin and I've only been watching since episode 99, and I regret not finding you earlier. The show is just amazing. There's this feeling of family all over the show with the audience, guests, and even your own family. I'm feeling like you know a little bit about everyone. I only play mandolin and a little bass, but I still love the show. Well, Drew, thank you for watching. And the good news is all those episodes are available in both podcast form as well as video form on acousticlife.tv. So if you want to do a full-on Netflix-type binge session, you can absolutely catch up. But we're happy that you're tuning in, and we certainly appreciate you sharing your Guitar Geek time with us. Even though you play mandolin, even though you play bass, we welcome strings of all types here. We call ourselves Guitar Geeks, but really we're just acoustic music lovers and overall acoustic music dorks. So thanks for watching. All right, Noah, I've got a little bit of a story to tell before I queue up this next one, and I'll keep it short. But
I'd like to, and I'd like to share a small win too.
Oh, sure, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all right. So went on the date with the wife this weekend, and we frequent a local place that's called The Local.
Okay. Oh, that's cute.
Anyway, I've noted that their playlist of choice is pretty dang good. Several times, if not every time. I cannot recall a time in the past 6 months that we've gone there and I haven't heard either Tyler Childers or Coulter Wall. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned this to you before.
Yeah.
So we're there yesterday, or whenever it was, a couple days ago on our date. And at this point, Heather looks at me and says, "It's Coulter Wall, isn't it?" And I was like, yes. I was very proud.
That's when you know. It's just like you give off guitar geekiness, and when the significant other like feeds it back to you, it's a good moment. It's a really good moment.
Yeah. So that's a little small win for you.
This is great because it segues perfectly into my little deal here. Right. So the other night, I had gotten back from a run earlier in the day. This was over the weekend, and Whitney was going for a run later, and then she was going out to meet some friends for drinks. And immediately, I get really excited because what does that mean? That means I can hang out on the couch and watch Netflix. I'm not saying that's what I do all the time. It's just my opportunity to watch music documentaries, which I will say this, Whitney does participate in, but she doesn't always bring the enthusiasm that I deem necessary. So she leaves, and I get a beer, I sit down on the couch, and I'm just flipping around, and I see this documentary. And this is the one I actually want to share with all of you today. It's called A Song for You. It's a documentary about the history of Austin City Limits. And I thought, I think this is the chosen one for this evening. So I click it on, and I was just infatuated from the beginning. It's this, they do such a wonderful job of weaving the history of Austin City Limits into current artists that are playing it, so you have this look back and also this look forward. It's a beautifully done documentary. You get to see some amazing musicians. I'm trying to remember, Willie Nelson, Bonnie Raitt, Beck is in there. The gal from Alabama Shakes is in there. Robert Earl Keen is in there. You see a little footage of Leo Kottke, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan. The list goes on and on and on. And you get these really cool stories of each artist and their experience on Austin City Limits, at the old location, at the new location. There's even a funny story about Merle Haggard and what he may or may not have done backstage. I won't reveal it. You have to watch the documentary. But to give you a taste of the documentary and who's involved, here's the trailer for the documentary entitled A Song for You.
Willie, happy to have you here at Austin. There seems to be a big increase in popularity in country western music. Can you explain that for us?
Well, it's really not hard to explain. I think everyone is just finally catching up to country music. It's been around a long time, and the young people have discovered it, and when all that enthusiasm gets behind anything, it's got to go.
Austin City Limits, Willie Nelson.
I've been associated with Austin City Limits since the beginning. I did the first show.
It's about music. It's not a little bit of music, not 4 minutes of music and then talking. It's just music.
I don't really get nervous about shows, but for some reason this one I couldn't sleep last night.
I was definitely terrified when I heard I was going to play Austin City Limits.
That show has a soul about it that comes through when you watch it.
When you're playing Austin City Limits, you're playing more of a real show.
There's so much history and tradition and heroic influence. It's pretty overwhelming.
You have to kind of stand up there and go, do these songs live up?
Welcome to Austin City Limits. How are you feeling tonight? We celebrated our 40th anniversary last year. We just keep on going.
Austin City Limits has stood the test of time because somebody is curating this music.
Every single year, we never knew if we were going to be funded.
It's tough out there in public television land.
Here's why we're establishing a Hall of Fame. With 40 years of amazing performers, we're celebrating our entire history.
Smells like Willie in here.
When will the show's producers change so that it can last another 40 years?
It's oil wells and barbecue and Austin City Limits.
I'm really glad to see it still doing well and getting better all the time.
I've watched it my whole life.
I don't care about being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame anymore. I got invited to play Austin City Limits.
It's the last smart music show on American television.
Good night, thank you.
All right, hopefully that gives you an idea of why you need to queue that up on your Netflix. Is that a thing anymore? Do they have a Netflix queue? Remember when you had to fill out your queue and they'd send them to you in the mail?
Oh yeah. I definitely remember like they mailed you the DVDs.
Yeah, is that not a thing anymore? Or? I mean, I know they don't mail it, but do they have the equivalent of a digital queue?
Really, they don't mail anymore?
I don't think so.
What about people who need the physical disc?
Well, Noah, you're acting like they still do VHS. Like it's a different time.
I'm just saying, there's people out there.
Noah's like, well, gosh, how am I going to fit this CD into my VHS player?
I'm just saying, there are people who don't have the ability to stream.
That's true. I don't know if they do the mailing thing anymore.
Okay, I don't know if they do the queue anymore.
Oh, okay. A lot of questions about Netflix.
Now it's like, what do they do? Where you just like something, and then they create like a queue for you based upon your likes,
They
right?
just feed you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
Technology.
So what music documentary have they queued up for you since you watched
Well, they didn't queue up anything for me because Whitney, like, she throws it off. So I get fed all these romantic comedies, and I don't have any interest in those.
You're watching Kate and Leopold this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, but check this out. Levi told me, he texted me the other night. He goes, I'm watching Echo in the Canyon. And I'm like, context, please? What is that? Is that a horror
Echo
movie?
and the Bunnymen?
No, Echo in the Canyon.
Oh.
Echo in the Canyon. Of the Canyon? I don't know. It's a documentary about Laurel Canyon. Oh. So that's next up on my list.
Okay.
I mean, and it's like, talk about a cast of characters. I want to say they got Graham Nash, Tom Petty, David Crosby, Joni Mitchell. I mean, all the cast of characters, Jackson Browne, everybody that was in that kind of Laurel Canyon creative phase. So that's next up on my list. It could be next up on yours, too, since I just kind of let the cat out of the bag. But anyways, so put that on your queue. Maybe Netflix will mail it to you. All right, let's move on. I got some guitarsenals I want to share with you all. We've been collecting these, hoarding them, if you will, and I've got a wonderful group of guitarsenals. All of these individuals are named with names that begin with the letter J, so I wanted to lump them together. We've got John, Jack, and Jonah, which sounds like a cool band name. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage John, Jack, and Jonah. The Triple J's. Anyways, let's move on to John B's guitarsenal. John B is from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He says, "Hi, Tony and Noah. I love the show. Here is my guitarsenal. On the left, we've got the oldest guitars, and on the right, the newest. We're starting out with 1971 Guild D40 NT. He bought this in high school. Next to that is his Gibson ES335 TD from 1972, also purchased in high school. And then we've got a Fender Jazz Bass, an Epiphone Special 2, a 2015 or 2016 Taylor 414 CE, a Guild J200, and last but not least, and out in front, my Rogue mandolin. Keep up the good work, John." Thank you so much, John, for submitting your guitarsenal. Always cool to see your guitar collections. Not just you, John, but everybody's guitar collections. Yours is lumped in with that. Sometimes I start talking myself into these deep, dark black holes. Let's move on to Jack T's guitarsenal. Jack T is from Layton, Utah. He's got a Martin CEO7, a Good Time tenor banjo, a Martin N20 from 1974, and then I was reading this earlier and I'm like, what's a taffy? And then I was reading a King Charles Cavalier, and I was like, what? I've never heard that guitar before. And then I cross-referenced this with the picture, and turns out Taffy's the dog. I'm connecting all the dots today. It's just taking a little bit of time. Followed by Taffy the dog, we've got a Raymond Raposo ukulele, a Kamaka ukulele from 1960, an Eric Solon classical with cedar top, rosewood back and sides, and then a Jochen Rothel classical with a spruce top and rosewood back and sides. So thank you, Jack, for sharing your guitarsenal with us. And then last, the final J in the trio. We've got to hear from Jonah. He's from Thomasville, North Carolina. In the far left, there's an Ibanez AW12 NT. Next is a Regent 5212. Next is an Ibanez AW54 CE named Rosie. Then a D'Angelico Premier DC semi-hollow named Roxanne. Next a Squier Fender Telecaster named Frankie because of the stickers. And last is a Fender Jazz Bass named Cherry. So I want to thank John, Jack, and Jonah, yes, the Triple J's, for sharing their guitarsenals with us. And if you're thinking, gosh, I've got a cool collection of guitars, or gosh, I've got a couple guitars I really want to share with all the guitar geeks within the Acoustic Tuesday community, please do so. It's super easy. Get yourself a guitarsenal shirt. There's a link right beneath this episode here on YouTube. Order yourself a shirt, put that shirt on, and take a picture amongst all of your guitars, and then submit it at acousticlife.tv. When you go there, acousticlife.tv, when you go there, you're going to see a submit link in the top menu. Click on that. You can upload your picture and then describe your guitarsenal as John, Jack, and Jonah did. And speaking of Acoustic Tuesday merchandise and things of the like, you do know that we're in the process. We're right smack dab in the middle of an amazing fundraiser for Guitars for Vets. It's called Acoustic Tuesday for Vets. To get all the details, go to at4vets.com. And there you're going to learn all the details about the fundraiser. You're going to learn that on November 11th, we're holding a live show to cap off the fundraiser with like fireworks and celebratory feelings. Not that we'll have fireworks, but you get the idea. It's going to be a momentous occasion. But all up until that show, we're going to be doing a serious fundraising effort industry-wide. And I'm talking you guitar geeks that watch this show, you're going to be involved. Manufacturers that we've featured on this show, they're going to be involved. Artists that we've featured on the show, they're going to be involved. And even folks that just make gear that we love, they're going to be involved as well. This is going to be an industry-wide fundraiser, and we're going to try to make a huge impact by raising $100,000 for the Guitars for Vets organization, which is such an amazing organization that you need to learn more about. They really help out the healing and processing of coming back to civilian life for our veterans that may be experiencing some PTSD and just kind of trouble adjusting. They use music as the medicine for that. So it's a pretty amazing program, and you can make a difference. To learn more, again, go to at4vets.com. You can pick yourself up an Acoustic Tuesday for Vets t-shirt where all the proceeds go to Guitars for Vets. You can submit a picture of yourself in Acoustic Tuesday merchandise to be featured on the show. And then for those manufacturers that want to get involved, all the information is there. How you can pledge, what videos we need from you, and all that good stuff. And I want to make mention that for those of you in the Guitar Geek community watching Acoustic Tuesday, if you think, gosh, I'm just a guitar geek, I'm going to buy a shirt and that's it, or gosh, I can't really buy a shirt. it's okay. You can still help. Sharing this fundraiser is really, really important because we want everybody to know. So even if you can't donate right now, that's okay. We still need your help in sharing this. You can still recommend other guitar manufacturers, brands, gear that you love for them to participate. Heck, go to your local music store. Tell them about it so they can get involved. So it's much more than just donating. There's a lot of different aspects that you can do to get involved, and we want you to do that. Again, to learn all the details, go to at4vets.com. All right, we're nearly wrapped up here. Holy smokes. We got to get to the artist of the week. But before we do that, no, I want to dive into the mailbag because we got some wonderful things here. First up, I got to explain. So
the closest run-in I've had with any kind of mail is that I mailed something.
Yeah.
And as you are aware, I was excited that I got to raise the little red flag on the side of the mailbox.
Yeah, it was like as if Noah was stuck in a time prior to mailboxes, and all of a sudden, fast forward, here he was, and he's like, this flag? And I'm like, yeah, raise the little red flag. That'll let the mail carrier know to pick up the letter. And he was just so excited. Like, we walked down the street, and he's like, look at that flag. It's so proud on the mailbox.
I was proud of the flag.
Anyways, I did visit the mailbag, or the mailbox, and got a wonderful letter from Rob C., who we've actually had a chance to meet in person at the Acoustic Live Festival, attend some shows with him and things of that nature. And he says, Tony, Noah, Levi, Allie, Angie, and Jonah. A short note to say hello, wish you all well, and provide some new music for you to review/enjoy. And he did just that. The album entitled Four Guitars with Will Ackerman, Vin Downs, Todd Mosby, and Trevor Gordon Hall. So I'm excited to dig into this. And he says, also, I want to send you a pick for your pick wall. And I was looking for a pick and I couldn't find it. Play on words. It's a picture for the pick wall. And this is him, Chuck H. III, with Rob is in the corner here, with John Knowles and Tommy Emanuel at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia. This was way back in January. So we're very proud to have this on our wall. We're very pumped that you got to meet two guitar greats. And then with this letter was I want to call it a token or a commemorative coin from the Department of State. And I think, Noah, we could use this for like a coin flip type thing later.
Oh.
You know?
Okay.
Like if we ever need to settle a bet.
What does it have?
It's got the seal of the United States on the back. And then on the front, it's also got the seal, but it's the Bureau of Intelligence and Research.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd never seen that. I didn't even know that bureau existed until I saw this.
So many bureaus.
We got another letter here from Nancy, and enclosed with it were some wonderful picks. 3 out of horn and 1 out of wood, and I've actually been using the horn ones. I really like them. I like the feel and I like the tone that they offer. They sound good when they hit the table too.
Do I hear a review maybe possibly coming up?
Could very well be. I should check those out and do a review on them because they sound distinctly different than your standard pick. Good call, Noah.
All right,
Thanks
you're welcome.
for staying on top of things over there.
Just producing away.
So Nancy says, I love your show on YouTube for one. Then I ran across these picks and thought Tony would put them to good use. The single pick is is an exotic wood. The package of 3 are made out of horn. Thanks to Tony, I've been practicing so much more than I have in a long time. Small win as I'm playing more and more. I'm remembering some of the music my father would play. He passed away at the age of 53. I'm terminally ill, but I don't let that get in the way. I'm 48 now, and days I feel bad, I listen to your albums on Spotify. Thanks, that's really sweet. I would really love to get copies on vinyl. News on that is coming in the future. And she said, enjoy the picks, and thanks so much for teaching me. Well, thank you, Nancy, for sharing such a nice note, and thanks for sharing a little bit of your story with us. It's cool to find out what guitar means to different people and just what playing does to them. So thank you very much for the picks and the kind note. All right, Noah. I think it's time to get to the artist of the week.
Okay.
Now, let me say this. I was sharing this artist with Noah, and he kind of did a, And right away, I'm like, you hate it, don't you? And he goes, no, I need to have time to process. And he said to me, he's like, I'm trying to figure out whether or not the inflection or the affect in the voice is real or if it's kind of forced to fit a character. And I said, I'm pretty sure it's real because I saw this guy live and was really blown away. Who are we talking about? Get to the point, right, Tony? Willie Watson, formerly of Old Crow Medicine Show, has released a couple of albums by himself entitled Folk Singer, Volumes 1 and 2. I'll show you those in a second. But he really is I would consider him a torchbearer of the folk tradition. He's literally going out and playing, fairly large shows to folks that maybe have never heard of traditional music, or maybe have never heard traditional music and have it introduced to them as traditional music. A lot of times we just assume things, but Willie's pretty defiant? No, that's not the right word. Let's just put it this way. Willie does a good job of digging through the folk song category and bringing up some gems and kind of putting his own twist on them. One of them is Gallows Pole, which you may have heard last week. Leadbelly was playing it. Now this week, here's Willie Watson playing the tune Gallows Pole.
Wait a little while, hangman, wait a little while and see. I think I see my father coming way across the sea. Father, did you bring me silver?
All right, a great version of that tune for sure. Now, I have to feature another tune because it's literally one of my top 5 songs ever written. I wish I wrote it. It's a song that I think is worthy of a spot in my top 5 songs, like my personal curated collection of songs that blow me away. The song's originally by Utah Phillips. It's called Rock, Salt, and Nails, and I've heard J.D. Crowe and the New South do it. Their version is amazing. It was on their self-titled album released, I believe, in the early 70s. I've heard Tyler Childers sing this. And each artist has their own take on it, but the lyrics it kind of pierce through all of that. It's just one of the most well-written songs, and Willie does a great job of covering it here. So here is Willie playing Rock, Salt, and Nails.
The banks of the river, where the willows hang down, and the wild birds all warble with a low moaning sound, way down in the hollow where the water.
Now you'll notice both of those tunes have Willie playing a Larrivee OM01, a well-worn, well-loved Larrivee OM01. And you might be thinking, that guitar sounds awesome. I'd love to get a guitar that sounds very similar to that. Well, good news is that Willie Watson has a signature edition Larrivee OM01. Naturally, you can actually get it off of his website. Mahogany back and sides, spruce top, very kind of understated. Think of it as a studio type guitar, like not overly blingy with appointments and things like that, but a very, very much a workhorse and very much we'll call it a folk singer's guitar for lack of a better term. I think that's actually pretty fitting. So make sure to check that out if you're interested in that. Lastly, Willie's not just a guitar player. In fact, he plays a mean old time banjo, and here he is playing his tune. Here he is playing the tune Dry Bones on the banjo.
Dry bones in that valley, got up and took a little walk where the deaf could hear, and the dumb could talk. I saw a light from heaven shining all around. I saw that light come shining, I saw that light come down. I saw the light from heaven.
All right, as I had mentioned before, he's got 2 albums out in kind of the solo realm. Willie Watson, Folk Singer, both Volume 1 and Volume 2. Don't ask which one to get, just get them both because they, again, contain some gems that Willie has dug up from the kind of the folk music catalogs. And just does a great job of portraying them in his own way. A very convincing folk singer, not convincing in the fact that he's putting on an act, but just the emotion that he puts into his music, I think is worthy of note, because seeing him live is just a treat, and he has just this awesome way of talking with the crowd. He just seems very humble, very, very nice individual. So I want to give kudos where kudos are due. Also, I'll note that he also sews. He's a seamster. Is that the male version of a seamstress?
So he's like a...
Not like a teamster, a seamster.
No, he's a seamster songster?
He's a seamster songster. He's a songster seamster. Anyways, he makes like authentic denim pants and shirts for both ladies and the fellas, and they're handmade, like real deal.
He makes them by hand.
Yes,
he makes them.
He makes them. If you go on his website, you can say he literally. It's like, hey, if I'm on tour, your pants might take a little bit longer, but I'll make sure to get them done.
So, like at his merch booth, you buy his albums and some pants?
Well, I don't know if he has them for sale at the merch booth. He has to bring along like a fitting room. Every show's got like the pop-up fitting room.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean, wow. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped too, and I'm actually trying to keep Whitney from discovering that because I know the pants that he makes for women, she really likes. And I know she's going to want them. I know that sounds counterintuitive.
Well, why have you not already ordered a pair for yourself and her, and then you can show us them on a future episode?
I mean, I could do that.
What about denim jackets?
I don't know if I'm a denim guy. I don't know if I could rock the Canadian tuxedo. You know what I mean?
I don't even know what that is.
That's like full-on denim.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
It's like denim head to toe.
I feel like I know nothing anymore. Whatever.
I think I could do the pants. I think I could maybe do a shirt. I think the coat's like one step too far. People would be like, what is he wearing?
Well,
because it's just not me.
I think you could do the jacket if nothing else is denim. Maybe.
Fair? Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, that's cool.
All important discussions we should have.
Yes.
Well, Noah, we're almost wrapped up here. It's almost time for me to spout some literary amazingness. However, we need to wrap up the Guitar Geek trivia conundrum. So just a reminder, here was your question. Ernest Tubb, known for his hit Walking the Floor Over You, amongst many others, cited which of these country artists as his main inspiration? A, the Carter Family, B, Jimmie Rodgers, C, Uncle Dave Macon, or D, Roy Acuff? If you answered B, Jimmie Rodgers, you're 100% correct. He was inspired by Jimmie Rodgers and spent his spare time learning to sing, yodel, and play the guitar. At age 19, Ernest Tubb took a job as a singer on San Antonio radio station KONO AM. The pay was so low that Tubb also dug ditches for the Works Progress Administration and then clerked at a drugstore. In 1936, Tubb contacted Jimmie Rodgers' widow. Rodgers had passed away in 1933 to ask for an autographed photo. A friendship developed, and she was instrumental in getting Tubb a recording contract with RCA. His first two records were unsuccessful. A tonsillectomy in 1939 affected his singing style, so he turned to songwriting. In 1940, he switched to Decca Records to try singing again, and it was his sixth Decca release with the single Walking the Floor Over You that brought Tubb to stardom. It sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc in 1965 by the RIAA. Pretty awesome stuff. As I was reading that, I was thinking, gosh, do people actually go to record stores anymore and buy records? Because that to me, like, when you sell over 1 million copies in 1965, that's 1 million people that got up.
That's a lot of vinyl.
Went to their store and actually physically purchased, literally put time into purchasing a record. It wasn't just like sitting on the computer bored at like 1:30 a.m. because you've already digitally guitar shopped and you thought, I'm going to throw some songs on, and you just buy them instantly. That's not a major time investment. However, getting to the record store in 1965, that's a time investment.
True, but let's also think of this. You know, there were guitar geeks in 1965 as well.
True.
And so I'm sure there were some guitar geeks who went and bought like 10 copies.
Very fair.
Right?
That's fair.
Okay.
So are you saying the numbers are skewed?
No, I'm saying he sold 1 million copies.
Well, Noah.
Yes.
We have slipped on our walking shoes. We've placed a double knot to ensure that they stay tight and secured to our feet. We've stumbled down the road a ways to the local record store. We've scoured the bins, found the greatest hits of acoustic life that it, contains the Acoustic Tuesday show. Brought that up to the kind clerk, paid for it in cash, placed it in our record satchel, and now we're walking home, ready to throw Acoustic Tuesday on the vinyl, on the turntable, I mean. Still waiting for you all to chime in on some stories for the end there.
Yeah. Me too.
Let's take a sneak peek into next week, see what's going to happen on Acoustic Tuesday, episode 108. A local triple threat musician. You're going to find out about somebody local to the Bozeman area that you probably have never heard of before, but you need to. Talk about a flat picker, talk about a songwriter, talk about the voice of an angel. And also, speaking of angels, the bearded angel Matt from Eddie's Guitars is going to tickle the strings once more, and we're going to do a deeper dive into the Envy Tone pickup system. I got some information that they changed some things, and they sent me a new preamp, and I'm excited to share that with you. So, that's all going to happen next week on Acoustic Tuesday. Remember, you can catch Acoustic Tuesday every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time here on YouTube. And for your Acoustic Tuesday fix in between Tuesdays, please visit acousticlife.tv, where you can do a deep dive into anything I've ever talked about on any of the Acoustic Tuesday episodes. There's bonus links, extended footage, you name it, it's there. Again, that's at acousticlife.tv. Don't forget to buy your Acoustic Tuesday merchandise, specifically Acoustic Tuesday for Vets shirts. You can find all that information at at4vets.com. With that, I've checked all the boxes and we're ready to wrap things up. Noah, another great show. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Guitar Geeks, for watching, and we'll see you next Tuesday on Acoustic Tuesday. Remember, Guitar Geeks unite.